call this a certain thing. Are you getting hit a lot of times when you think that it's about to be your turn? Are you swinging into strings that aren't finished yet? Does this look like something that happens to you? That I like to call something called second hit syndrome. I don't know why, but it seems to be a very prevailing thing. I don't know why, I just changed it. I'm just gonna leave it be. I'm not worried about it. That seems to be a very prevailing thing when it comes to low-level Tekken 8, right? There's a lot of characters that have like similar things. I can probably show you guys with a character that I'm significantly more well-versed with. I specifically showed you guys with Azuna because, you know, that's the kind of character where you think her strings are over and they're not, and then you die, and that never feels good, right? So, let's try it on Raven, right? Like, Raven's like more tricky. He's got a lot of like back turn stuff, and he's got Soul Zone. So like, surely he doesn't also have one of those strings where if you just press into it at the wrong time, it just like counter hit launches you, right? Surely. Because he would probably have to have one of those from like back turn or from like Soul Zone. It's not normal that they would give him one of those from like just the standard string, is it? Like, that's seems strange to give him that, right? It doesn't make any sense. Oh, that didn't work. But you understand what I'm getting at here. It happens a lot, right? A lot of people are going to assume whether it's from watching specific high-level Tekken play and watching like 2 hits be the norm for most things and like people taking their turns like very small, or whether it be that you legitimately don't know and you're trying to check through strings. A lot of times, most of the time, most of these strings are not beaten by just randomly mashing your fastest low or your fastest mid or your fastest high through the string. Generally, the way these strings are beaten is with something like a sidestep, a well-timed duck, or a block, right? A lot of these strings are actually just unsafe on block. Once you have this problem, once you start getting hit constantly by second hit syndrome, all you have to do is identify the string. This is a quick piece of advice. All you need to do is identify the string and then go into training and set the bot to do said string. Once you've confirmed that the bot is doing said string, just figure out the counterplay, right? And I think I named the 3 major points of counterplay. There are going to be some strings that are just like really, really busted and the counterplay actually is smash. And that's not the norm for Tekken. Generally, the norm for Tekken is that the last hit of a string always has some sort of a mix-up in it, or if it doesn't, it just has a clear-cut way to beat it if you're ready for it. So that it becomes stagger pressure otherwise. What up, Lemonberry? How you doing, man? So that it becomes stagger pressure otherwise. So what I don't want you guys doing is this and dying. This is not what I want. It's not what I want to see. You know what I want to see from you guys? I want to see you guys doing this. Wait, what? Oh, there we go. See that? See how he ducked under it? And now, if this wasn't a bot, if this was me, it would be a full launch punish, because I'm just him. I'm just Himothy. I'm just Himmy Turner. I'm just that guy, right? This is something that I think everyone can learn, and it's probably the easiest way to start to slow down people in Tekken who are abusing strings that you don't understand. After you've isolated what it is, even if you don't really know the string or the name of the string in training mode, you can go back in the phenomenal replay system of Tekken 8 and find that string. I can show you guys another one, and find that string. And when you're trying to deal with it, instead of mashing into it, just try every one of the options I listed. Blocking it, seeing if it's minus. Ducking, seeing if it's crouchable. Sidestepping left or right. Or maybe even try a power crush through it. I'm not sure if a power crush will work for a lot of these situations because of how fast strings are, but I mean, it's just another option, another piece of the pie that you can try, another piece of the pie that you can try, turn it into Senkola. Oh. Let me see if this works. Is it this? What's the other one? Is it 1+2? I thought is it this? Yeah, there it is. So this string hits a lot of people. This is like the string with Yoshi, where he just like mashes it on you, and if you don't duck this is what happens. This is what happens when you try to punish. You're like, oh, I'm gonna take my turn back because he did something that's like a mid check. Did like a mid check, he's gonna stop his turn now, right? Let me just try to do like a down forward 1 back. Like, I'm not gonna let him just get away with this shit. This is what fucking happens to you. Now you're here. You wanna be here versus Yoshi? I don't even know what Yoshi does here. Probably that. Just do that. Like, what are you gonna do about it? You know? And, holy shit, that actually does so much fucking shit damage. So instead, now that you've isolated what that is, you can find out if it's steppable. Power Crushable? I actually don't know, so let's check. Let's see if you can Power Crush through it. Nope, no Power Crush. Don't try to do that. That won't work. Let's try tech crouching it. Let's try using something that's just a really fast low to duck under it. Let's try a crouching button. Oh, look at that. You can even down one it, right? But even more so, a lot of times those are situations where you could down one, right? But you could also just full duck launch that. Right? The down one is just to check this because it's -9. But like if you think they're going to go for the full string, why take your little -9 check +6 check for you and whatever it is, 10 damage? Why take that when instead you could figure out if you could wall standing 4, if you could, oops, I don't know how to launch with Yoshi. I don't know how to launch with Yoshi from crouch. There it goes. It's wall rising 1/2. Wall rising 2 1/2. That's his launch. Second hit syndrome is a very common like fishing tactic at low ranks when it comes to 3D fighters. Not even just Tekken, right? I started calling it second hit syndrome when playing like Soul Calibur 5 with the stagger pressure. And ever since then I've always called it that. And it's something that's resonated with me in DOA 6, in Virtua Fighter 5 Ultimate Showdown when I tried that, in Tekken 7, and even in Tekken 8. In Tekken, it feels so much stronger. A lot of times that third hit, that second hit, generally I call it second hit syndrome because you block the second hit and you think it's your turn, and then the third hit kills you. Or it just launches you for ridiculous amounts of damage or plus frames for the opponent. Like this Yoshimitsu string, right? Lab the punish, go into training mode and figure it out. Go into the replay and figure it out. If training mode is too daunting for you and there's just too many moves, you don't even know what the notation is. Just a small piece of advice for like Tekken players who feel like at low ranks they're just getting mashed on and they don't know what to do about their opponent's pressure, right? Instead of their opponent like just face rolling the controller, they're like doing actual things that work when you don't know how to beat it, right? This is another good example. This string. That string is I believe safe on block. So if you just block the string, look at that, -4. He just gets to do this shit to you over and over. What the fuck do you get? What are you gonna do about it? -13. So you can punish this at range. Like, you might not get your best 13 frame punish. When instead, you could choose to duck under these and punish. You could choose to step this if this is steppable. That's one thing I didn't even check. Maybe shit, maybe not. Might not be a steppable string, gang, I won't lie to you. Doesn't look like it's a steppable string, gang, I'm not gonna lie to you. Yeah, it ain't steppable. So your best option is gonna be to duck and launch. And that is gonna be the case for a lot of the strings in 3D fighters. It's kinda just, they're -17. What are -17? Oh yeah, you're plus 17 on this. On all heat engagers, you're plus 17. It is generic, and then on block, on a heat smash, you're +1, or heat burst, you're +1 on block, but on hit, you're only +2, which is another cool thing to think about, right? If you're really, really scared of your opponent using a heat burst, a meat burst, they're +2, right? They're +2 in third range, but they're not really gonna get anything super fancy on hit. The only way they're going to get anything great is if you're jumping. If you jumped, you might have just killed yourself. And then on block, it's only +1, right? So these, at this kind of a situation, it's actually not that bad. It's when you get hit by something like a heat engager, which this will lead to one if you don't punish this correctly. It'll lead to one. And then you're -17 in your opponent's face, and they get to mix you up for free. I don't know what the... I don't know what the string there is. I think it's that. Maybe not. Yeah, I don't know what the string there is. I'm not a Yoshi player. I just know that those are like the 3 strings that I've seen the most, along with some Dragunov strings where people just don't know how to check them and when to check them and end up dying. Think about second hit syndrome next time you want to mash on a string in Tekken 8. Think about second hit syndrome next time you want to mash on a string in any 3D fighter. The labbing process in Tekken 8, luckily, is pretty good, especially because of replay takeover. But generally, if you can identify the string and you know the notation for it, or you have a friend who knows the notation for it, you can almost always figure out what it is and figure out what the counterplay is for it, or if it's a completely busted string that you need to complain to Bandai Namco to fix. Anyways, If you enjoyed this small talk segment, a little helpful thing about Tekken 8 that I see a lot of people getting hit by and I don't think they really know how to answer it, like the video, subscribe to the channel, comment down below if this video helped you, or share with a friend if you think it'll help them. I'm not saying you're calling them a scrub. I'm saying you're calling them new to Tekken. Anyways, this has been Beanie Thuggish talking about second hand syndrome in 3D Fighters, signing out and saying